to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back. It is Friday afternoon, and we are tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And joining me today is Mr. Henry Clepper.
Hello.
You a little nervous, sir?
No. Just still hot.
Still hot, yeah.
It's warm outside.
We spent a little time. So we've been trying to get together and shoot for a couple weeks now, haven't we? At least.
Yeah.
And we finally got together today on one of the hottest days of the week.
It wasn't as bad as
well,
I
it
thought
will
was gonna
be.
but
Afternoon is kind of here, but not really. So we
hitting
spent
out.
it is what it is. But you were able to show up, and we were able to practice drawing and shooting, and we made fun. We made fun of each other.
Absolutely, always.
And that was fun because when we drew and we tried to rip our clothes off while we were drawing with our firearm, and it was fun. There's no do-overs in self-defense, though.
Nope.
But there's plenty of do-overs this afternoon.
Practicing. Yep. Well, that's why you practice, right?
That's right. So I thought you were here, and so I thought I'd have you in here on the podcast. We've been talking about doing this for a while. I know you listened for a while. I don't know if you still do, and it's all right if you don't.
Periodically.
You can people can only handle us for so long.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because a lot of times I'll see it on Facebook, and I don't know if it's like live because I'm dumb when it comes to Facebook. I don't know if it's live or it's recorded. So I almost want to call in and chime in because, everybody likes a good argument.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but reluctantly, I don't.
Oh, next time you see us live, go ahead and just message something on the board there, and
it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And I tell you what, if you like doing this, every now and then I struggle to find, because, everyone gets busy doing different things.
Yeah.
I'll holler at you. You can just do this all via phone. I can take phone calls. I can do all kinds of stuff in here.
Okay.
It's fancy.
On this little thing, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's like $900 piece of equipment here. Yeah.
It's got too many buttons for me.
It's actually pretty simplified. It's pretty simplified for what it is.
Yeah.
But so I tell you what, Henry, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so people know who you are?
Where do you want me to start?
I don't know.
Since I moved here?
Since the day your mom changed your first diaper.
I don't even remember that far back.
No, it just tells about who you are, what you did, what you do, that kind of stuff. And while you do that, I'm going to adjust your filter. Just keep going.
Okay. Where to start? I grew up in Texas.
Yes.
Got out of Texas, joined the military. Was there for about 20 years in the military. I thought, military guns, great, awesome. But I joined the Navy in the aviation field, and I got to handle a weapon maybe 3 times the entire 20 years that I was
Really?
in. Yeah.
You joined the military to handle weapons.
I know, right? But the weapons that we handled were like EMF and radar stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
So I was more so on the techie side. So
can you teach me how to build a Faraday cage?
No.
Why not?
Because I haven't done that. I haven't done anything like that in a long
Okay,
time.
I'm just checking.
So I did it so long that I just got burnt out.
Well, the world is getting crazy, and I'm looking for people with skills, okay, to join my little off-grid community. And you just threw something out there I didn't know about yourself, and I was going to invite you, but you need to learn up on Faraday cages.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. And it's probably stuff that I'm familiar with, or it'll like fire something off in the back of my head, and they're like, oh, I remember this.
Okay.
But I've always been a tinkerer.
Okay.
So this would be something I got into the aviation community because I thought, okay, what's not going away? Electronics. They're just getting better.
Yeah.
We're always going to be flying.
Yes.
So, it was something that I could solidify myself in to once I get out of the military.
Right. A little closer to the mic, please.
But I didn't
much better.
I didn't expect to get so burnt out.
Right.
After like
were you burnt out of what you were doing, or you burnt out of being told what to do? I have much respect to you, man, because I can't be told what to do for that long.
Well, I can't remember a time where I felt like I didn't like that somebody was telling me what to do, because really, if you keep your head out of your butt,
right,
and just do your job. Nobody barks at you.
No one says anything.
Yeah. So that was like probably the simplest job I ever had was being in the military.
Oh, okay.
All you got to do is just show up on time, do your job, stay out of trouble,
And go home.
You're good to go. So I had it pretty easy, a little too easy because I played around a lot more than I should have. So I didn't get as far ahead as I should have been when I did retire. But
Right.
I ended up retiring. So
Okay, well, that's awesome.
so I retired. Like I was saying, I really only handled firearms, small arms, maybe 2 times.
And the retirement, that's his ammo slush fund now.
Yeah. Well, no, it's Kristen's whatever fund.
Okay, I got you.
So my money is her money. Our money is her money.
Yeah, same here.
Which I'm okay with.
I am too. It keeps everyone happy, and if I want something, I get it. I get the money for it. Yeah.
Yep. And I usually ask her and say, hey, what are we looking at, or how are we looking, so that I can
Know what to spend.
know what to, like, if I have something in mind that I want to buy or something, she'll ask me, oh, do you want to buy a gun? I'm like, well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, same thing. Same thing here. So you retired from the military.
Yep.
And now what do you do?
So my wife and I moved here to open a CrossFit gym.
Right.
A CrossFit box. It's technically not a gym. It's a fitness boutique.
It's a fitness boutique. That's right.
But we moved here to open it all up, and I was still deployed when she moved here, and she pretty much laid the groundwork for everything.
Right.
Super smart. And she laid the groundwork for everything, and she ended up just running it and taking off. And I showed up, and I'm like, hey, just put me where you need me to fill in.
Right.
Which was mainly getting up at the butt crack of dawn to go open.
Yeah, because she didn't want to.
Exactly. But she was doing everything else, so
Sure.
I figured it was the least I could do. It was just to do all the waking up early in the morning and getting classes going. So it wasn't a big deal. Since then, we've grown considerably. I think it was like we started off in like a 2,000 square foot space, and I want to say in about 6 months we had to double that. So we moved next door, and then a couple of years later we had to have our landlords erect a whole nother building for us because I mean we were housing a couple hundred people. So
Sure.
it just took off from there. She's done an amazing job with it, and kicking butt. And
Very nice.
I can't say enough about it.
I'm a member, and I love the place. I've been going there for, I don't know, like 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that. And honestly, I did it because I wanted to, but honestly, it kind of probably helped save my life, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I was not in a good place. I didn't have any energy. I never did anything. And I credit you guys in CrossFit for that, really.
Well, thank you.
And the community that you guys foster over there is absolutely fantastic. And it helps that you like firearms.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I grew up with them. Grew up hunting with my dad.
Right.
I was the one that woke up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. My brother's like, nope, not me. And I'm like, hey, let's go.
Let's go kill something.
Yeah.
Let's go shoot something.
Which, I mean, I really didn't shoot anything. There was a couple of times I shot at things, but not claiming to be a marksman or anything.
We're kind of all over the board, but hunting, it's not about killing something.
Yeah.
It's about the experience with your dad and the firearms and just the whole thing, the getting up early, and you remember that. Obviously, you remember
absolutely.
that. So
Yep.
that's
freezing your butt off.
That's what it's all about,
yeah.
man. It's the fun.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff right there.
Yeah, and it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice hanging out there.
So I don't know, and we're not looking to talk a whole ton necessarily about CrossFit, but I done a little research here and there, and I know that for a while there, I don't know if there was anything CrossFit sanctioned, but there were some big wigs up in CrossFit that actually did combine a little bit of shooting in CrossFit. Have you seen those?
I know that there are a couple of guys that are pro gun and they like shooting, and they're big name CrossFit athletes, and I'm pretty sure they've thrown some stuff together just out of, I guess, fun. Because shooting's fun and CrossFit can be fun.
CrossFit's fun if it may not be fun first, right? But
or
you get there.
or during. But afterwards is like, yeah, I did that.
But CrossFit is really cool because it actually, just like other sports, I'm sure, I'm not a sports guy or anything like that, but CrossFit's kind of what I know. I'm not even that great at it, but I know it, right?
Yeah.
But it teaches you how to control your breathing. It teaches you how to do stuff like that because you're doing these short, fast. It will explain the type of workout and what CrossFit is.
Well,
You're better at it than I am, trust me.
CrossFit embodies pretty much every facet of exercise there is, from like gymnastics to Olympic style lifting. And then you have to, over like short periods of time, you have to just get through as much or get as many rounds or reps as possible in an X amount of time, or it could be just to complete a certain thing. But the whole time, it's a lot of explosive movements, a lot of cardio. At the same time, you got to have that strength foundation,
right?
So you're pretty much using your body like, I guess like it's meant to be used, but at a higher capacity, so that things get easier, not easier, things get less hard. There you go.
Right.
Because it's never going to be easy.
Because because you're always pushing harder and harder as you get better and better.
Right. And everybody has a certain threshold. So, I mean, you walk into a box, and you see everybody at different athletic levels.
Right.
Because everybody's in a different space in their journey. And, I mean, we're all doing pretty much the same thing, just at different capacities. Whereas, like, your 80% capacity maybe here, whereas mine's like here. Right. And it's, but we're still running at 80%.
You're still working just as hard as the next guy.
Exactly. You may have a little bit more weight on your bar than I do, but we're still working the same capacity.
And that never happens. Trust me.
I don't know about that. But it's because we can push people at that level that's where you see the progression. People get better, and then people take that into their everyday life and go, oh, I was never able to do this before. Now I can run up the stairs real quick, like no problem, and people see that reflected in their everyday life. And that's how it kind of sucks you in. That's how you see.
Well, it makes you have a better life.
Yeah.
So, and I want to get to talking about how I relate firearms and shooting and stuff to fitness, CrossFit, just because that's what I know. But before that, there's a story that I don't even think, I talk to your wife quite a bit. She's usually my coach and stuff, and I don't even think I've mentioned this to her. But it made me a better person anyhow. I lost weight. I felt better, that kind of thing. But the functional side of it, so there's movements that you do in CrossFit. One of them is an air squat. Oh, and you learn how to do the air squat and keep your back upright, and so you don't hurt anything, right? You learn how to be agile and move like that. So I was working on a vehicle in my garage. This was a couple of years ago, right? I was working on a vehicle in my garage, and it was an old Scout, and I stood up on the bumper.
Wait, it was a Scout?
It was a Scout.
Oh, okay.
Go figure.
Weird.
Yeah. And I stood up on the bumper, and I had unhooked the radiator, and I couldn't get it out. I needed to be up higher above it to lift it to have it clear. And I stood up on this little narrow bumper, which I had no business to even be standing on, right? There's antifreeze everywhere. Stuff's wet. Bad idea. So I stand up on this bumper. I reach down and I grab the radiator and I try to get it out, and it's the hoses are tangled. I know if I give it a big yank, it's going to come out. I gave it a big yank. About that time, my feet at the same time slid off the bumper backwards. I hit the ground, right? I hit the ground in a squat form holding that radiator.
Right.
And I'm like,
core tight and everything.
I was like, holy crap, look at that.
Heck yeah.
I'd probably would have thrown my back out if that would have been, a few years earlier. Right. I was really impressed with myself.
That's functional fitness. Well, see, a lot of people, you walk in and you can, there are strong people everywhere.
Right.
And they can sling weight like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, sure.
But the mechanics behind it, what we do is we take that. Like anybody can do a squat, anybody can do a deadlift. You reach over and pick up $100 bill that you find on the ground. That's essentially a deadlift.
Sure.
Right. You're loading your hams, loading your glutes. Now we take that movement and you refine it and teach you have to teach your body to move the correct way through that that
Right.
range of motion, so that you're loading the proper muscles so that you can avoid injury.
Right.
So once you get that mapped to your brain, and it becomes secondary, like you're not
Muscle
even thinking.
memory.
Yep. Not even thinking. Same thing with shooting. Repetitive.
Yep.
That muscle memory, it becomes second nature. So when something happens, like you have to explode into action, it's already there.
Yeah. It's
So
just
just
stored.
like-
It's waiting.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. So just like you were caught off guard and you
Yeah.
slipped off the bumper, boom, you caught yourself in.
I did. I
tightened
hit and I
everything
was like,
up.
"Ugh."
Yep. And you had it.
I was like, that's a squat. That's a back squat. It could have
Yeah.
been a front squat.
Front squat,
Who
yeah.
knows what that could have been? It was pretty awesome.
But you didn't blow your back out.
No, I didn't.
There you go.
I got plenty of opportunities to do that at another time. But anyhow, there's a handgun instructor by the name of Rob Pincus. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. And he actually, before he's always into shooting and stuff like that, but before he became a full-on instructor and started his own instruction school or firearms instruction school, he actually owned like 2 or 3 different CrossFit boxes.
Right.
And so that all goes hand in hand. And there's actually some people out there, I don't think they do it much anymore, but there's some, you can go on YouTube and find some old videos from like 7, 8, 9 years ago.
Right.
And there are, and I don't know if they were gun enthusiasts and they grabbed CrossFit, or they're CrossFit enthusiasts that grabs guns, but they would actually do workouts with firearms. And part of the deal was in CrossFit, you're working so hard and you come to a stop, right? And maybe you might have like a 2-minute rest.
Right.
And you have to learn how to gather yourself up, calm your heart rate down, and breathe. So they would have these people do these crazy workouts and then run over, and the gun was already usually preloaded sitting on the table, and they'd have to pick it up and try to calm their breathing down and take good, accurate shots. And they would combine a lot of that stuff. And it was fascinating to watch. And it's the same way with shooting, though. I've actually had people from CrossFit come here and take some classes, and I made them run lines, right?
Yeah.
Run
Do a
lines.
couple burpees.
And I can never get them to do burpees. But that's hard to get people to do. Here it's hard to get people to do. But run lines, do jumping jacks, get their heart rate up, and then pick up their firearm and try to shoot it and notice the difference. And that simulates is a defensive encounter, a defensive situation, right? Your heart rate's going to go from 64 beats a minute to 135 in just a matter of seconds, depending on what happens, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, someone's shooting at you. Someone runs up and snatches your kid or whatever it is, but you have got to know how to function under that kind of stress.
And be aware that the
Yeah.
whole cognitive
Yeah.
aspect of it going on. Yeah.
And then if you start looking at and this is where people are probably going to shut the podcast off, right? Because we're talking about fitness. We're talking about getting out and working, and it's interesting how that doesn't interest a lot of people, but it's important in shooting, though. There's movements that you can do. So even just shooting, standing up, but there's, you can lunge forward, right? Take a knee and shoot. And it's all about, just like working with a barbell in CrossFit, it's all about neurosynchronicity, right? It's that timing.
Yep.
And as you lunge forward and take a knee to drop to a knee to shoot, it's all about pushing that firearm straight out. And as your knee touches the ground, you've already got that trigger prepped and you're squeezing that shot off. Right, perfect timing. That's all it's about. Just like using a dumbbell, perfect timing. When it gets to here, you're doing this. When you power clean or doing jerks or snatches or whatever.
Absolutely. So that and then once you're taking that knee, are you necessarily going to stay there the whole time? You need to explode out of there, and you need to move. Especially you got to reload or something, or something else happens.
Yes.
So just being able to get up from that position,
and
that's huge too.
There's another one where they, where another move in shooting, I guess, when you get that far, it's you kick back into the prone position, right? But you got a firearm in your hand. Now you got to have the core strength to be able to do that smoothly and keep that firearm pointed in a safe direction. And then there's another move where you go from there back up to the kneeling, back up to the standing position. And it's essentially like a rocking burpee, one-handed, which is kind of insane to do, to be honest with you. It can be a little difficult.
We'll have to play with that.
Oh yeah.
Next time.
we need to get, what we need to do is we need to get some, like a couple of airsoft guns, and we need to go in the back room at CrossFit. At the box, and we need to just kind of work unloaded guns, but we have something in our hand. We got to focus on keeping it pointed in a safe direction and rock. I've tried it. For me, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a bit of a challenge, but just building that overall strength and endurance and standing there and bullseye shooting is crazy how being in shape helps you do something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
It helps you mitigate the recoil.
Yep.
And you see me at CrossFit whenever I do like a lunge or something. You guys laugh at me because I extend my arms out like
yeah.
I've got a gun in me. Because
Well,
what the hell are you doing, Todd? I'm like, I'm
memory.
writing this shit off. Leave me alone.
You're practicing. It's muscle memory. I mean,
Yeah. So it's
just like earlier, when we were out there practicing, it was just for me like moving back every time I draw. It was like, are you going to stand still, or are you going to, it just instinctively I'm moving back. I'm trying to, and that's how I practice, and that's how I what I have mapped.
Yeah.
So mapped to my head, and it just becomes automatic. And I'm like, okay, now I have to purposely focus on standing still.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to watch you and analyze your draw, and I was like, okay, you're moving. You need just one spot. I need to see kind of what's going on here, and then we can add all that other stuff in later on. But then you conned me into doing it too, and it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. I do it all by myself though. I get a little like shy when people are watching me.
And then for the first time, for the first 5 seconds, I shot better than you, and then it was all over again.
we figured I had to knock the rust off, man. So, and I just got done saying that, shooting and even self-defense and stuff like that is it's better when you're in shape and a little more fit. Now, I'm not saying you got to be the Mr. Olympian, right? And I'm not saying that if you're not in shape, you can't defend yourself, because you certainly can. You can still shoot a gun and everything. But what I'm saying is it's easier, right? It's easier. And I'm not here to shame anyone. I mean, I used to be a tiny 290, well, not quite 270, 280, but I mean, I was a big guy, and when I first started, I ran 100 yards and I'd walk back because I felt like I was going to have a freaking heart attack. Yep. But so, if you're out in public with your kids, right? Or something happens, someone snatches your kid. Can you move quickly? Can you chase them down? If someone were to jump on you and start attacking you, how long can you last without your heart beating out of your chest? Right. You know what I'm saying? Because your heart rate's going to go from 0 to this in a matter of seconds. And can you maintain, right? A lot of people can't really maintain. Yeah. It's hard.
Well, that, and not every situation is going to be set up to where you have like a foot or two in between you and someone. They may be right on top of you, and you're trying to retain your weapon and trying to get them off. And there's a physical aspect to that too. You got to be able to, may try to push away, and
you got to be able to fight a little. Yeah,
exactly. Before you can.
And I've seen people come into CrossFit and over the years, right, where they aren't very flexible. They can't move. Maybe they don't have very good balance. And after going in and working on basic, simple stuff, their quality of life is so much better. And I see a lot of people that carry a firearm to defend themselves, and they think that just because they have a firearm, they're good to go. Well, that's a good thing, right? It's a step in the right direction, but there's more to it. There's more to it than just having a firearm and being able to pull the trigger and hit a bullseye. Be active, try to get in shape. I mean, why do you carry a firearm? You're protecting yourself, you're protecting your family. Why are you doing what you do? It's you spend the $800 on a gun, right? You spend the $100 on a holster. Yep. You went and spent $100 to get a permit, another $60 to apply for your permit. It's if you're able to spend all that, go the extra mile, right? I mean, what's your family worth? What's your life worth?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the way I see it, and that's kind of, I don't know. I guess saying it out loud, everything I do, the firearm, the getting in shape, it all works together. And I may not have saw that at the beginning, but I've definitely over the last couple of years really started to see it all mesh together and go, this all works together. This is important stuff right here.
Well, I mean, it's a physical thing,
right?
And just like, how CrossFit and you can ask anybody that does that. They have a specialized sport that they do.
Sure.
Whether it be baseball or bike riding or mountain
water
biking
polo
or water polo, golf. I have a couple of people that come in the gym, and they're there because it improves their golf game.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
And it's just, it's amazing how much of this can transcribe into
your hobbies and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a member. He's no longer with us, not in that aspect, but he like moved.
Right.
But he was an avid biker, road bikes.
Uh-huh.
And every off season he would be in the box working out with us. And periodically he'd pop in and work out and everything. And one season, him and his buddy went out riding. His buddy asked him, he's like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, it's getting harder and harder for me to keep up with you. Are you doing something?
Yeah. What supplement are you
off-season or
taking?
something?
Yeah.
And he's like, I just been CrossFit, man. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to check in on this.
Yeah, it's amazing how it changes your life. And
Yeah.
and you know, this is the gun podcast, but I'm passionate about everyone. I mean, I'm in better shape than I was. I'm definitely not in perfect shape, but
Well, I've seen you change. I mean, from the first day you walked in
yeah.
till now. I mean,
there's less of me.
yeah,
I fit better in this chair.
it's harder to hit.
That's right.
Because
I'm
there's
harder.
less of you to-
The smaller you are,
Yeah.
that's right. The harder you are to hit with a round, man.
Yep.
The harder you are to shoot.
Yep.
Okay, enough fitness stuff, so no one will tune it all the way out. But
Yeah.
so you're Mr. 1911.
Yeah, I like the 1911s.
You like the 1911. Tell me why you like the 1911, sir.
I don't know. They feel good.
It's because they're pretty.
Yeah, they are pretty. But there's some plastic guns out there that look pretty. I mean, I normally carry a plastic gun.
Right.
So
what's your favorite 1911 right now?
the one I have.
Well, yeah, but let's tell everyone what
It's
is.
Sig Sauer Emperor Scorpion, and what turned me on was at first the name.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That sounds super cool.
I was gonna say, be honest. He's looking at this guy. Go, where's the dragon carving?
Yeah.
Where's the scorpion on it?
So it's super cool, and I was shopping around. I wanted a shiny, like, stainless steel, like big O 1911, like full
Right.
size. Not the crazy 6-inch, but the 5-inch normal.
Nothing
size
crazy.
19,
Nothing crazy.
But I wanted to pick it up and feel like I'm curling a dumbbell or something,
Right.
something heavy. And then I thought about it some more. I'm like, maybe a 10 millimeter. Let's do a 10 millimeter.
And that's a fun caliber.
So I'm like, okay. And I'm not thinking about how expensive the round is, just not thinking about that. I was like, I just want it.
The only round you can find now.
So I'm looking for this shiny gun. And it takes me about 3 months. I'm picking up 1911s left and right. I picked up some chambered in 9, picked up some in 45. I even picked up a couple of 40s, and I picked up a couple of 10s. And I'm like, I'm kind of leaning towards Kimber, but not leaning towards Kimber because,
Good choice.
It's a Kimber. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's got a Kimber.
Every pretty boy's got a Kimber.
Right. So I'm like, what is it? And I started looking at some of the Dan Wessons. Dan Wessons are pretty nice. And then just one day I rolled into a shop and I'm like, what is that? Does that say 10 millimeter? And they're like, yeah. This here is the Emperor Scorpion. I'm like, oh, cool.
He's like, loaded up.
Yeah. So he brought it out of the case and I picked it up and it just, when I grabbed it and I gripped it, it gripped me back. I'm like,
He had a personal moment with this firearm.
And it took not even a minute. I'm like, yep, this is it.
I tell you right now that you 1911 guys are just a smidge off.
But it's
Grip
funny.
me back. I don't need to know what you and the gun do alone. When I gripped it gripped me back. Okay.
Well, yeah, you held it. I mean,
know.
those
It's a nice gun.
grips, it's just like they're scalloped and after a day of shooting, it's going to rub your hand raw.
Right.
It's pretty grippy. But it just felt good.
That's the phrase. I'm sorry. That's the phrase. I'm gonna cut that out.
just felt good.
I'm gonna that and it gripped. When I gripped it gripped me back. I'm gonna make a little audio button for that, right?
Yeah, that's fine by me. I'm gonna listen for it every time too.
Dude, that's great.
Just don't put it together with like anything associated with High Point.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That'd be awesome. But no, it is a nice gun.
Yeah.
It is a nice gun. We brought it out here. We shot some steel with it and stuff, and it's a fun gun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's pretty.
It is fun.
And right now it's like the only ammo you can find, but
Well, yeah. So I'm stocked up there.
the price on that stuff go up though?
Actually, I found that if you don't buy specifically Sig Sauer ammo, that it's relatively inexpensive. I mean,
Right.
you're looking like $18 for a box of 50.
That's not bad.
Of ball ammo.
Which is kind of crazy right now. 9mm is like 3 times what it was. It's like
Right.
$22 a box right now.
That's nuts.
It is
I
absolutely.
remember buying just ball like Blazer and stuff for like $12, $11.
Oh yeah,
bucks.
it'll get. Well, when it was cheap, you could buy like the aluminum stuff for like $9.
Who wants to shoot aluminum stuff?
Well, but if it's cheap,
Well, I know that Todd, that you love it when people load up aluminum
I do.
out here at your range. So
It stays out in the rocks. I make my 14-year-old son slave in the heat because he chooses to sleep in and get on his hands and knees and pick up all that brass. And he's been instructed to let the aluminum go back to the earth where it came from.
right.
Like, we don't need it. We don't want it. We don't like it.
But hey, if it's what you have to shoot,
No, it is, and it runs wild. I say I don't like it because I'm a reloader. I like to reload, and I can't do anything with the aluminum cases. So that's why it's not my favorite.
yeah. But you don't turn down anybody that wants to come out here. And
Oh
shoot
heck
whatever
no!
they're shooting.
Bring whatever ammo you got. Bring whatever your firearm. I'm not picky. I might tease you a little bit about your ammo, going that ammo's not allowed. But anymore, it's like if you got ammo, just bring whatever you have because it's so hard to find right now.
And if you're bored and you want some colorful conversation, bring a 1911.
Oh my gosh. So Henry actually helps me with a lot of my classes, at least a lot of the permit classes. You come and help me on the range. And do you enjoy doing that?
Absolutely.
It's great to talk to all those people, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it feels good. Like when you find something that works for someone and, and it just dials them in.
Right.
And you, like I did that, I helped with that.
Yeah. Especially if they are scared or they're brand new and just to see the smile on their face.
Oh yeah.
And they're just giddy. They just absolutely love it.
Especially when they're on point and when they start dialing it in.
That's the best part about this, about teaching someone, about my business. It's nice to be able to say I'm doing something I actually love to do now. That didn't happen for lots of years for me.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's so rewarding, isn't it? So rewarding.
Absolutely. And then I remember it wasn't too long ago. It was pretty recently when you were battling, trying to struggle, making this a full-time gig. And it's like, why not?
Yeah, it's I got a good supportive wife.
Yeah.
Okay, Shreya, she supports me. In fact, there's been a time even a month ago I was like, maybe I'll just go get another job, right?
Well, she's working 4 jobs now, right?
So pretty much. Pretty much. She's very supportive, and she actually said, "You know what? We need to make an honest go with this and give it a try, and let's just see what happens."
Yeah.
So I mean, we're making it. We're not. I dropped the $70,000 a year job, right? That we lost that, but I mean, we have to be careful what we spend our money on. Probably we should have been doing that from the get go.
Yeah. Preaching to the choir here.
Yeah. So, but hey, we're moving forward, and it's. Well, we've been blessed, so it's I'm excited to kind of see what happens and make some more improvements out here, so I can shoot in the wintertime hopefully, and COVID-19 is a bad thing, but it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah,
if that makes it. It's
giving you some time to take care of some stuff.
No, when people are scared and people are freaked out, when bad things happen in the world, unfortunately, I don't want that stuff to happen, right? Yeah. But when bad things happen, my business booms. Yeah, it's just crazy the way it works like that. I don't pray for bad stuff to happen, but when it does, it's
out there.
It does. Someone's got to benefit from it, right?
Well, and I mean, you're helping people out too. I mean, it's not just a benefit to you; it's a benefit for everybody that comes through.
Yeah,
they get more familiar, they get more comfortable. They hit you up with extra classes to get even more comfortable.
That's right.
And then if it comes down to it, they're more prepared, they're more knowledgeable, they're more comfortable. Even in getting out of that comfort zone, it's just like I'd rather have somebody next to me that's at that level than somebody
who's nervous and fumbling and
who's never taken a class. But
and that
packs a weapon, and then
a lot.
They don't practice with it. They don't, they just, they have that confidence that they have it. But I mean, really, in the end, is it going to help?
Right.
Probably not.
If you don't know how to use it, no, it's going to be, people sometimes think that buying a gun is that, and I've said it before, but they think that just going out and purchasing a firearm is the magic talisman. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen because they got a firearm. you need to know how to use it, right? Just because you have
Absolutely.
it and it's at home in a box somewhere, still sealed in the plastic bag covered in cosmoline or grease or whatever, doesn't mean that nothing bad's going to happen. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to rip that box open, slit that plastic open, and get that gun out right away.
Yep.
A gun that you've never fired, and be able to load it and use it to defend. You've got to be prepared. You've got to take instruction, take that class.
Absolutely. And then train with the weapon that you plan on carrying, because there's been a bunch of times when, like, I don't mess around with safeties.
Right.
You know, well, except for my grandpa gun, 1911.
Yeah.
But that's still muscle memory too, drawing and flipping that down. But I remember, like, a couple of times, like some of these classes that I was helping with, and I would try to unjam something, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? Or somebody's like fumbling around. I'm like, why is this not firing? Oh, it's got a safety.
It's got a safety on it.
And you forget about things.
You kind of feel like a goober, and the person's looking at you like, what the heck?
But you forget about things like that.
You do.
So if you're going to have a firearm, first and foremost, learn how to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are YouTube videos out there. I know there are YouTube videos out there, but the best thing to do is to find somebody that's familiar with firearms and sit there personally with these people, to better associate yourself with whatever you're carrying.
YouTube videos are only for doing car repairs.
Yeah. Well, that and
Yeah, car repairs, car maintenance.
Yep. And then that's what you use for all your.
That's exactly what I use.
Oh, your Scouts, right? Your Blazer ripoffs.
They're actually so old that nobody does any YouTube videos on them.
Yeah.
So I'm on my own, man.
You see, Ford's bringing back their version of the Scout again.
Ford's bringing back their Bronco that looks a hell of a lot like an early Scout, and it's stupid.
Their version of the
they're ripping it. They're ripping it off.
Yeah, but
whatever. It is what it is. You know what? The newer
they still look cool.
God, we go from CrossFit to guns to vehicles. I love it.
Yeah, why not?
But no, they do look cool, and there's nothing against the Ford Bronco, I guess, and it'd be cool. And I'm not gonna say no if someone were to give me one. Am I gonna go buy one? Yeah, no. But you know what? It's a lot of fancy electronic stuff, and guess what? All that shit breaks. Meanwhile, my 50-year-old Scout is just going along, man.
So and you give me crap about 1911s?
Yeah, exactly.
How long have those been around?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna shut that conversation down. We're done going that direction. Your dog is growling.
Yeah.
She doesn't like the podcast.
No, she does that whenever she's tired and just kind of wrestling. She does that.
I'm offended, Pika. So if you had, we're talking handguns here, right? If someone said, "Hey, here's $1,000, what handgun would you go buy right now?"
That's a good question.
And it doesn't have to be one you're going to carry. It could be just a safe queen.
I don't know. I think I'm good.
No. Someone said, "Here's the thought: you have to
to
spend it on a handgun."
I don't know. I'm really curious about that Archon Type B.
That you showed me that, right?
Yeah.
Explain what that is.
Yeah. So it's kind of Glockish, and I'm not a Glock fan, which is weird, but it's super, super, super low.
Striker fired.
Yeah, it's a striker firearm. It is. I don't know. They just kind of beef up the sales with all these little refinements to the firearm, but it's got a really low bore axis. So the webbing of your hand pulls way up high on the firearm, and then they've got like this. I forget what they call it, but it's like this tendon on the back of the grip, and it's supposed to push into your webbing. And weirdly enough, when you push that, it pulls your fingers together.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to give you like a tighter grip or whatever. It could be just,
gimmick.
A gimmick, marketing gimmick.
Right.
But I mean, you physically push on that webbing and you can see your hand clamp down.
Yeah.
But it looks almost alienish, but I mean, I don't know.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating to you.
It looks cool. And I think I could get used to shooting something like that. But yeah, maybe that route.
How much does that thing cost?
$800-900.
That's a good way to spend your $1,000. You got a little left over for
ammo.
For a holster, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Ammo holster.
Well, you say it doesn't necessarily have to carry it, right? So
you don't have to carry it.
I've got what I carry, so I like it. I like it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I like it a lot.
I'm trying to think what I buy. I just go boring. I probably go Canic
1911?
Executive Elite. No, hell no. 1911. I probably just go that Canic Executive Elite. I freaking love that stupid thing. That gun is phenomenal.
I'm surprised you don't even have one. You have one now.
Well, you know, I quit the day job and I'm doing this full time. So I do write a lot of stuff off, but I've been doing a lot of range improvements, and that's kind of where my money's been going.
That's good.
So
We got your HK.
I got my HK. I love my HK.
Yeah.
I've had the thing for years now.
Well, when I was shopping around, like for my first like real carry weapon, it was I looked at the HKs, I looked at the PPQs, and I looked at, because at the time the 320, all those three were like, they kind of came out around the same time, I think, and they were putting them all up against each other, and then I don't know, I've just been a Sig Sauer fan, so went that route.
SIGs aren't bad. They're not my favorite. They're not horrible.
No,
by any means. No. So
I like them. They got a good reputation. So
yeah.
so does HK.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. Most gun manufacturers right now nowadays, they all have a pretty damn good reputation. I mean, they really do. You know, you get them out, you shoot them, you keep them clean. They're going to function. There's not. Occasionally, you're going to have one that has a hiccup, but it's usually it's like a new version, a new model comes out, and you know they'll grab it if they have to, make it right, and you'll never hear about another mistake. You know?
Absolutely.
And just the way it is, and people, what's going to be more reliable? Well, as much as we give them a hard time, even that freaking high point's going to be reliable. I mean, it will. It'll shoot. You just have to decide if it's the gun for you, but they're all going to shoot.
Well, really, you just got to get used to how it functions.
Yeah.
And, you feed a bunch of, maybe some of them are picky with ammo. You feed a bunch of ammo through there, you find out what works, and you stick with it.
Right.
And if it works for you, it works for you, whether it's a high point or a Glock but what's, I don't know. I talk a lot of crap about Glock, but
but they run.
They do. They do.
And I give
ugly.
you crap about your 1911s too. It's just,
and they have like how many series now? Versions?
I don't know, 43, 16, 9, 15, 9, whatever.
And they all look exactly the same.
But you know what? And
Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5.
There's
the same.
There's little differences, but they do look the same. But we've mentioned this before on the show, but the Glock doesn't care, right? I mean, they don't have to. Why put in all that extra energy if they're just going to sell anyway? Because that's what they do.
Yeah, it was the same thing with the 1911. They all look the same.
Right.
They all pretty much function the same.
So let's give them fancy names like Emperor Scorpions.
Yeah, that's.
I'm surprised you don't have a jacket. I could see you having like one of those. What are those 80s jackets that they're kind of poofy?
Oh yeah, the members only jackets.
Yeah, the members. Yeah, sporting your 6 Sauer Scorpion.
Yeah,
it's got the Emperor Scorpion on the back.
Well, it would be like an old smoking jacket, like an old.
Oh, there you go.
Because it's older.
Yeah, you 1911 guys and your walkers and your and the tennis balls on the feet of the walker.
Yeah, I'm not that old. I am older, but not that old.
So we've talked in the past about combining some CrossFit stuff, just even for fun.
Yeah,
CrossFit, do some kettlebell stuff and then shooting. We still need to do that sometime.
Yeah, I can.
We've just been busy.
Snag a kettlebell or two and
get a couple guys
shoulders blown out, and then try to hold up that 6 Sauer.
That or that high point.
Yeah, that thing's heavy.
We could do the kettlebell swings with the high point.
Yeah,
and it's heavy enough.
Heck yeah!
And then shoot it after it. I bet we could round up some people to come over and do that.
Yeah,
we get you. We could get G Money.
Yeah,
G Money come over.
Yeah, he would. I think he would.
We'd have some fun doing that.
Yeah,
we need to do that.
That's
sometime.
what I do. If he would.
Oh yeah, he would.
He can never get off work. He's always working.
Yeah, he's always working. I don't know. I go hang out with him.
Yeah,
we take like trips like through the desert in his fancy.
Well, he's too cool to hang out with me.
In his fancy new Jeep.
Shoot. Yeah.
He's a Jeep person now.
Yeah.
You got to know how to get on the good side.
You mean his wife's fancy new Jeep?
But he drives around. So it is what it is. But Well, I appreciate you coming out today and shooting.
You bet.
I appreciate you swinging by for the podcast or staying for the podcast. You and your dog here, which has died. We found out your dog does not like firearms. Doesn't like shooting.
No, it's weird because she didn't even flinch, not even one time lighting off fireworks.
It's a little different sometimes.
I think there's a little bit more concussion.
Yeah, and you can feel it a lot more. And so, anyhow, well, I appreciate you. Well, I'm gonna. I always got to say my little spiel at the end here. So if you like listening to the podcast, keep listening to it. Share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe. If you want to give us a rating, you can do that. The podcast is found on iTunes. It's found on Spotify. It can be found on Stitcher. It can be found on pretty much any podcast catching apps that you can find. It's out there. If you have a comment, if you have a question, if you hate the show and you just want to let me know, you can call me. You can text me, area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. We love to hear from you. I've heard from 2 or 3 people over the last week from all over the U.S., which is kind of awesome. If you're out of the country, text me too. I got a gentleman that listens to this show. He's not even in this country. He's I forget exactly where he is, but he's in some foreign military or foreign legion somewhere, and he listens to this. He sends me cool pictures when he's in Africa.
That's cool.
And we've exchanged numbers and we text message all the time. And he's starting to run now, so we keep in touch. He shows me all the pictures of where he goes to run, then I show him where I go and run. It's actually pretty cool. We never met, but we chat back and forth. So I really enjoy that. So I'm gonna throw this. I'll probably release this podcast later on today, so you guys will make sure you have it for this weekend. I will be out of the area for a week, so I'm not sure that you're going to have one this next weekend. But I will get one up. Hopefully, it's just as soon as I can when I get back. But life happens, and I'm going to escape to the mountains for a week and just hide away. So until then, you guys go out, enjoy the weather, get some range time in, stay safe, and thanks for listening. Bye.